Hey everyone, and welcome back to Totally Music Official. I'm Tracy and I interview, review, react and chat about new songs, new albums and live shows. Today I'm joined by Dan Jones, who is a Telford-based musician, guitar instructor and founding member of Luke Combs UK Tribute, which is widely regarded as the premier tribute to the country superstar Luke Combs. The band's rising success caught attention internationally, even earning an invitation to perform at Category 10, which is Luke Combs' new music venue. Dan is joining me to chat about what got him interested in music. Today I'm excited to welcome Dan Jones to Totally Music to chat about his musical career. Dan, welcome to Totally Music. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you very much, Tracy. Yeah, so my name is Dan Jones. I'm a singer-songwriter and guitarist, writing my own sort of bluesy, rocky country, and also playing in the UK's top Luke Combs tribute band.
I'm glad to have you on. So what's your earliest memory of being drawn to music?
So obviously, looking back to my childhood, really, and we often get influences from our parents. So for me, it was my mom. She had a vinyl record collection, and I'd sort of sit there as a kid looking at the artwork. You know, there's one particular album by ELO called Out of the Blue. I remember it's got this like huge UFO on the front of it, and it was a double album. So you open it out, and there's like a recording studio in space. I used to love counting all the little spacemen and the engineers that were recording the music. So that, you know, sort of that was a very pivotal moment for me. She also had Beatles albums and some sort of older stuff like Frank Sinatra. So I got really into the Beatles and sticking headphones on and listening to some of the little snippets that you get when they start recording. You can hear things going on in the studio. So yeah, and then my uncle, who also he lived very close to me. He was a big influence on me growing up, with exposing me to like Bob Dylan and Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly, stuff like that. And yeah, and that went on from there really until I got into my teens and started playing guitar.
So who were your biggest musical influences growing up and how have they helped shape your sound today?
Yeah, so going back to my uncle Mick, who got me into Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's songwriting, his raw sort of acoustic recordings and the harmonica, and the songs told stories, but also there was some abstract sort of elements to the lyrics and things which I quite liked. So that acoustic music really got me into that. And then the Beatles, like I said, with my mom, and then from there, sort of when I started playing guitar, it was like looking into bands like Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix. When I first heard All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix, it just blew my mind. You know, I thought I've got to be able to learn how to play a guitar like that. You know, and then Jimmy Page got into more Led Zeppelin stuff, and so really musically, you know, it was family. And then when I developed my own sort of friendship groups, yeah, sort of classic rock, Led Zeppelin, and then moving on from there, I did Led Zeppelin 3 was an acoustic album, and that got me into listening to a little bit of folk music, and then into some country stuff as well. So yeah, Jimi Hendrix, Bob Dylan, Jimmy Page, there you go.
Nice. So what's your favorite part of creating music, like writing, recording, performing, or something else?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and obviously the writing process is great, the initial getting the ideas, but then it's not until you sit down and you start really recording and arranging. I have an idea of what the song might sound like, but it's not until you start laying tracks down and exploring the chord sequences, and then as you start recording and laying tracks down, it's when their ideas start to pop out and jump out of you. So I think the most enjoyable part is the recording process, and then watching the song grow over time, and then mixing it, and then just taking your time with it. You know, I always think of it a bit like an artist painting. You know, you don't do it all in one go. You know, you might go to the canvas and paint a bit, and then come away and go back to it, and allow the music to really talk and speak to you. You know.
So what's your favorite song you've written and why?
I released this EP in February, which is like a country rock EP. And I'm really pleased with that because it's the first time that I stood out on my own as a vocalist. So I'm really happy with the title track, which is called One More Whiskey for the Road. It's got a lot of energy. It talks about when I was in America with the Luke Combs tribute band. And yeah, so that's a really great song. It captures the all the elements of our crazy gigs in the States for two weeks. And then the other song that I did in 2021, which is an instrumental sort of progressive rock blues album, and there's a song on there called Space Time. And I was at that particular time, I was really into like fusion and jazz oriented rock. So I was drawing on influences there, and I was really pleased with the arrangement of the song and the textures musically that are there. So those two songs, One More Whiskey for the Road off my EP, and then Space Time from my album called 049.
That's good. So you also work as a Luke Combs UK tribute band. What inspired you to become a Luke Combs tribute band, and was there any specific moment or song that started that?
Yeah, so I'd been playing in a covers band locally, and I sort of got to my 50s. I got on my 50th birthday. I said, "Well, I want to go back to playing live more seriously." And literally opened my mouth, and I got a phone call from a friend of mine, who I didn't realise, but he'd been asked if he would like to join a tribute band to Luke Combs, and they were looking for a guitarist, and he recommended me. So I was like, Luke who? Like, so at the time, put my hands up, I'd never heard of Luke Combs. And so I spoke to Liam, who's the lead singer, and AKA he does the tribute to Luke. And, you know, Liam seemed like a really sound guy, and he was really driven. He got an idea of where he wanted to take the band, and he played me the song The Kind of Love We Make. And I thought I wasn't sure what it would sound like, so when I pressed play, I was like really blown away at how bluesy it was and how funky the groove of it and everything. And I absolutely loved it. And I thought, if it's going to be like this, I'm in, you know. So it was that track, The Kind of Love We Make, that really sort of clinched it for me. Liam obviously was the inspiration behind the band. He'd already been doing a wedding band, and he'd been getting asked loads for songs like Beautiful Crazy at weddings and things. And then he got a little bit fed up with that scene and wanted to move into doing something different. And people were always telling him that he sounded like Luke Combs. And he looks a bit like him, he grew his beard and that, he looks a bit like him. And he did a show at Rodeos Wolverhampton, and Simon, the gaffer there, the sheriff, he put Liam on, and that was it then. It just took off. And obviously Liam then saw the potential in having a full band. And within the first gig that I did with the guys was just me, Liam, and Dave in a kitchen playing to 10. I think it was 7 people or 10 people. It was this guy's 70th birthday. I think it was his 70th. And the 2 weeks later, we were playing to 200 people. Then like a month later, we were playing to 500, and then it's just gone absolutely bonkers from there. So it's been amazing.
Sounds it. So do you ever put your own spin on the songs, or do you aim for kind of exact replicas of Luke's music?
Yeah, I think we've tried to stick as close to the studio recordings as possible.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Luke's band, we had the privilege, because obviously we've been endorsed by Luke Combs, and we were invited out to Nashville earlier this year to play Luke's bar at the request management, which was amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
I'd never seen Luke play live. I've only seen him on YouTube and that. So we got a VIP night on the grand opening of Category 10. So we went to Luke's show and stood watching the band. And obviously there's I think there's 5 guitarists, keyboard player, bassist, drummer. And there's 5 of us. And for me, as the guitarist, you think to yourself, well, how am I going to fill all those shoes, you know? So the challenge was to try and pick out, for me, all the signature guitar parts, play them. I said to Liam when I joined the band, if I can't play it, I'm not going to do it. You know, so I made sure that I really did my homework and learned all the solos and as accurately as I possibly could. And so as time's gone on, though, that some of the songs have morphed a little bit. You know, we found our own spin on a couple of the tunes just because of the energy that we feel we put into it as a band. So you do bring your own, even though you're paying tribute to Luke's music and you want to try and play it as close to it as possible. And obviously people who are paying to see the tribute band, they're not that they're judgmental, but they sort of, to begin with, if they've never seen you, they'll sort of sit there and be like, okay, impress me, you know. So as a band, you've got to go out there and do a really good job. And then when you break that ice with them and they realize, wow, this is a great band, and all the recognizable elements to the music's there, you know, they warm to you, and then they come back. And over time, like I say, things morph and you put your own energy into it and that. So we do put a little bit of a spin. The song Where the Wild Things Are, we've sort of done a whole different intro to that that's gone down really well. So that's been good.
No, it sounds like it's going well.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So how do you balance playing tribute to Luke Combs while still expressing your own musical identity?
Yeah, that's a good question. The thing with the Luke Combs tribute band, what's been interesting is obviously people initially come to see the Luke Combs' music played live. And we always do a meet and greet after the shows. And we always meet the people and have a chat and, you know, give away picks and things like that. And we've built a great relationship across the country with just a lovely, lovely crowd in the country scene. You know, the people who come along to the shows are great. So what's interesting is, like, we've developed our own identities as well as giving tribute to Luke. So, you know, people watch obviously Liam and admire him for his Luke, you know, sort of presentation of Luke's music. But they also see Liam for Liam, you know, they see Dan for Dan. So obviously we've gained followers on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot under our own profiles. And for me, that's been great because it's given me the chance to have an audience who would be interested in listening to my own music. So that's been a sort of like a, you know, a knock-on effect is I've been able to sort of put this EP out in February and get a good response from people who've been to the shows, who liked my guitar playing and liked me, you know. So it's been really nice to have that, the audience that we play to at the Luke Combs shows, but also be able to play our own music. I mean, time-wise, it is tricky. I'm trying to write another sort of EP or an album at the moment, and just I've started one tune and I'm trying to finish it, but it's with the amount of gigs and everything that we've got, it is quite tricky, to be honest. But, I will work hard at getting something out over the next few weeks, hopefully.
If you could tell Luke Combs one thing about how his music's impacted you, what would that be? Yeah,
I mean, I think that the fact that his music is so relatable, people just identify with his songs, you know. They've had such a massive impact upon people, and the knock-on effect is obviously we've been able to sort of build a measure of our income from that, and been able to back off some of the day job, you know. I mean, even though I teach guitar for a good portion of the week, but as time's gone on and the band's got more successful, you know, it's been I've been able to sort of step away a little bit and have a day off or 2 days off a week. So, you know, it's really thanks to Luke's music, and he's given me, via his music, indirectly, the opportunity to earn my living from playing live more, you know. So thank you very much, Mr. Combs, you know.
So finally, what's next for you?
So what I'm trying to do is to develop my own voice and my own songs and sing my own songs. So I've always been a backing vocalist. So I sort of, in my mind, I've got September as my sort of starting point, really, that I want to try and go out also solo and do a few shows singing my own stuff, probably support acts really with other artists that I know, and also continue to write. I've got a body of songs that I'm currently working on. There's probably about 7 songs that I've got that are ready to sort of demo. So I've got to put this next set of songs together, record them, and then try and get some gigs and get out there and play live and develop my own persona and that and out there, you know. So it's great working with guys like Liam, because he's an inspiration, you know, with his voice. He's got such a lovely voice, and he's so driven. and the rest of the guys in the band are a real inspiration as well. So I've got that to really draw on, you know. So that's the next step, September going forward.
Looking forward to seeing what's coming for you.
Yeah, great, thank you.
So a massive thank you to Dan Jones for joining me on Totally Music. If anyone would like to check out his music, I'll leave all the links in the description below for you. But thank you.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Really appreciate your support and your time. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me to chat with Dan Jones. I hope you enjoyed finding out more about his music. Leave a comment below to let him know that you're a new fan. And you can also find all the links in the description below to his music, so go and check it out. And if you've got this far, please click that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you're notified every time I post a new video. And why not go and check out the rest of my interviews with independent musicians. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.